All right, this is my life. I'm living my life, and it is a miracle. My life is one big miracle. I'm so excited to be here again with you this beautiful Sunday morning. Every Sunday we gather here and we sing uplifting songs and we listen to spiritual teachings, and I usually attempt to impart a little wisdom or give some spiritual direction to help us in our lives. And I might even give a rousing message every once in a while. To join in a sacred ceremony here at Unity, designed to bring us closer to the God within. But why should you listen to me? There's a lot of spiritual teachers out there. What do I have to offer that you couldn't find somewhere else? How am I qualified? What does Tony Cryer have that Wayne Dyer doesn't have? I used to say, life, a body. Right? I used to say, who needs Wayne Dyer when you have Tony Cryer? But the truth is, we all need each other. Amen. We all need each other. And the fact is that I was brought here by Spirit. Whatever you think that is, there is a collective consciousness, a consciousness of love, a consciousness that is love and only love, and that guides us each and every day, and that guided me here. So I am actually here at your request. You invited me here. Each and every one of us has a perfect and unique gift to give to the world. You're a perfect expression of God, just as you are. Just as you are. Your talents and how you present yourself in the world. And you're learning and growing. I always love the saying that I'm a work in progress and I'm a masterpiece all at the same time. We're allowed to be that. We are God's masterpiece. It was a message I did a long time ago. But we're also a work in progress. That masterpiece isn't something you just hang on your wall. It's being perfected each and every day and every moment. That song that I sing, Perfect Love, comes from 1 John chapter 4. And part of that is that it says, as He is, so are we in this world. So as Spirit is, so are we showing up. And these body forms, we are God expressing. And so you're the perfect expression of God, just as you are. I need you just as you are, because I can't be you. I have enough trouble being me. This guy's got a lot of energy and he's got a lot of things he thinks he needs to do. But sometimes I have to step back and realize that I'm really not doing any of it. It's Spirit within me. It's God within me doing it. And the more I step back, the quieter I get, the more I hear. The slower I get, the faster I go. The more simple my mind gets, the more expanded my heart becomes. And so this is an important message today, because each and every one of you, being perfect as God created you, has a gift to give to the world. And it's super important for me that I receive that gift. Because all of us together, showing up in our true selves, is what demonstrates the world of love. What James was offering just now was giving love, even in moments where it doesn't look like it. All those who are affected by war. To me, that's the most powerful part of the meditation. Because it brings those two things together in your mind, and you're going to have to choose which one you want to extend, which one you want to express. And I can tell you every time, without a doubt, that love always shines away and washes away and heals the conditions of war and separation and all the symptoms of fear in this world. So I'm really not much of a historian. Like, even when it comes to my own life, I can't remember hardly any of it. But I find great joy in living in this moment. So today I'm going to try to recall some of the things that got me right here, right now, because it's important. You know, I always say everything that you've experienced in your life up to this moment has led you to right here and right now. Everything brought you to this moment. So be grateful. Be grateful for this moment. And be grateful for all of it because it got you to right here and right now. So what I can remember is about 50 years ago. That's why I call this talk my 50-year miracle. Because about 50 years ago, I was 16 years old, I began noticing and began having mystical experiences and miracles happening in my life. In fact, I have to say it's been one miracle after another. The problem is I can't remember the details. So I just look at it as one big miracle. It's important, I study A Course in Miracles because I started experiencing a lot of miracles and mystical experiences, and I wanted to find more about it. And the first thing it says in the text, after the introduction, chapter 1, is there's no order of difficulty in miracles. One is not harder or bigger than another. They're all the same because all expressions of love are maximal. They're having the maximum effect in the universe. There's nothing to oppose love in the universe. Not really. Amen. Thank you, Kevin. And that's a very high teaching, that love has no opposite. That everything else fades away, so let it fade away now. Let it go from your mind. You think you need to react to the world with the same kind of energy of separation and anger and division and name-calling and all those other things that human beings get addicted to. And you think, well, if I just play that game, I'm going to play it better than you. I'm going to win. I thought that for a long time, that I could win that game of separation, that I was right. When you get away from right and wrong, what did Rumi say? There's a field of infinite possibilities. Quantum field, that's where I'll meet you, in the quantum field. Right? Beyond all of my ideas of right doing and wrongdoing, there just is. There is a universe of love. And that's where I want to dwell. So I love A Course in Miracles because right away, in the very beginning, it's going to tell you that miracles don't really matter. Miracles as such, as you define them, don't really matter. The only thing that matters is their source, which is far beyond evaluation. I love that. Wow, I thought I was going to learn all about miracles, and it tells me miracles don't really matter. Darn it, what am I going to do with the rest of those 1,200 pages? Well, I'm going to find out about their source. I'm going to find out about my source. I'm going to find out who I am and what I am and how I can extend who and what I am in this world. The third principle, so there's 50 of these. That's why I call it my 50-year miracle. I'm not going to keep you through all 50, don't worry. Just 3 of them. The third one is miracles occur naturally as expressions of love. So I'm not here trying to create miracles. I'm just here trying to love myself, trying to love you. Remember Summer Osborne, in one of her songs, she says, you didn't come here to save the world, you came here to learn to love yourself. And we learned that it's the song that saves the world. I love it. Just expressing that love from within you. Just singing together, being together, loving one another, taking care of one another. Looking out for your neighbor as yourself. Loving your neighbor as yourself it's not just something you read in the Bible, it's a necessity of life. These are necessities. So everything that comes from love is a miracle. Oh, now I can just relax. I'm not worried about how to create miracles. I'm not worried about how to be a miracle worker. If you love, you are a miracle worker. You're working miracles in this world. That's all you really have to do. So when I think about what got me here, it was the love of a lot of different people. And my love for a lot of different people as well. I'm blessed beyond measure. And I have so much to be grateful for. Being the leader of this spiritual center is number 2. Being husband to Liliana is number 1. And I can't really remember anything else. Music has been a big part of my journey, what got me here. Being able to sing and play with Jack and Oriana each week is like a super huge blessing in my life. I'm just so grateful that they share their talents with us. I'm so blessed just to know that life has been a gift. That everything that I've been given along the way has been freely given from the universe. Everything. You know, we tend to think I worked hard and I earned all this stuff, but it was already there. You already owned the house. The universe is yours. You look up at night into the stars and realize there are billions of stars and galaxies, and you're all part of that. You're part of everything. When you just grab a little piece and try to hold it for yourself and not give it away, you forget that you own all the universe. All those stars, all those worlds, all that energy, all that love. It's all yours to discover. And I won't discover it and I won't see the miracle that is my life if I'm focused on petty things that I need to protect from you. Oh, no, I'm going to give it away. Try the opposite, guy. I'm going to give you a hint. Try the opposite. Whatever your conscious, so-called logical mind is telling you in these instances, when it's telling you that you need to judge that person, or you need to protect this material wealth, or you need to do something that separates you from the other person, stop. Just stop and ask yourself, does this support my highest good? Does this thought, does this word, does this action support my highest self? Does this express a loving God in this moment? Just ask yourself that. What would love do now? That's all. And let that guide you. Let that truth from within, because you know what love would do now. Let that guide you. And just follow it. So I started at 16 years old following the miracles. I said, okay, if this is possible, I'm going to follow that. That's what I'm going to pay attention to. Now, I was a little young, so I didn't have to go to the Vietnam War. But all my brother's friends and anyone that was a little bit older, they were going off and dying and coming back as, drug addicts, mentally ill. Some of them were wounded, didn't have legs and arms. And a lot was going on at that time. It was the first time that we saw on TV the horrors of war. Like, oh my God, I couldn't believe it. I said, we actually do this? I actually could not believe it. Like, I heard about World War II and all those things, and my dad was in Korea, and, a lot of different things. But it didn't dawn on me that was actually happening. That human beings actually do that to one another. And we're still doing it. That's the crazy part. So at that particular time, I was looking for an answer. I was looking for a way out of that world. And I used to just go down to the beach and sit there. And I discovered meditation. I didn't call it meditation. I didn't call it anything. All I needed was some quiet time. I sat there, 16 years old, and I breathed with the ocean. I listened to the waves, and I let the waves come in and go out with my breath, going in and out. Became one with the ocean. And I felt so peaceful and so blessed. And I said, why don't we just live this way? Why? And I discovered that we don't really live that way because we don't know that peace is possible. We don't practice peace. We don't have a spiritual path. So I was practicing peace. I didn't even know it. But that's what I was doing because that was natural and that's what I needed. So one day, this is a great mystical experience I had. I'm meditating or sitting at the beach, breathing with the waves, and I'm getting very, very quiet. It's a very still day, and I'm very quiet in my mind. I've never experienced, very few times, that level of stillness. And I look out, I open my eyes and I look out, and the waves on the ocean automatically kind of settle down and they stop. And what I perceived, what was coming from my mind, was it all snapped into a stillness, like concrete. The ocean was just perfectly flat and still. There really no movement whatsoever. And in my mind, I thought about Jesus walking on the water and that kind of thing. And I said, that's how he did it. Wow, he just got so quiet in his mind, knowing the ocean was in his mind, not the other way around. Of course, he can still the water. Of course, he can calm the storm. So as I got up to try to do it, it started moving again. And I knew at that moment, okay, it's possible, but I have a lot of work to do. It's possible, and I'm going to go in that direction in my mind. Because it was too real. It was too amazing to be part of the stillness of the universe. It was too amazing to be in a universe that had no problems, that had no opposition, that had no separation, that had no division, that had no hatred, that had no sickness, that had no death. And so I began my spiritual path from that moment. I kept seeking those kind of experiences. And when I was 19 years old, I remember, a little bit earlier than that, of course, at that particular time, all my friends and I were, involved in drugs and alcohol and partying every night. And I had a miracle. I went to a prayer meeting with my mom. I mean, it was the most bizarre thing in the world because I had totally denounced the Catholic Church. But my mom used to go to these prayer meetings with these charismatic Catholics that would pray for you and you'd be healed. I didn't even know I needed it or wanted a healing. I'm fine. I'm doing great. I'm partying. I'm having a great time. I'm a young teenager, 17 years old. And I'm like, what do I need that for? But I don't know, my mom's, she's like, I liked hanging out with her. And she was doing this crazy stuff. Because she was in Al-Anon. That changed my whole family. When my mom got into Al-Anon, she brought the Daily Word into our house. She took me to this prayer meeting. So during this prayer, I had no idea what was going on. They were speaking in tongues and praying for people. And my mom's like, go up there. I'm like, go up where? And I'm walking, and I got close to them. I'm still about 3 feet away. And they started praying for me. They see this long-haired kid come up, and they start praying. And immediately I just fell over, like I lost my body. Like altogether. Yeah, I just fell down. And all I could feel was my head. It was all light. And I said, this is what heaven must be like. I was just in the light. It was all light. There was nothing else. It was just this cloud of wonderful, soft light. I didn't feel the floor when I fell down, by the way. I did not feel my body at all. Now, later on, I learned from A Course in Miracles that I am not a body. I am free. But we won't get into that today. What I want to get into is that it was one miracle after another. The next one that happened was that I found my friend's son in the woods. When he was lost, I've told you about that miracle. He was lost in the woods. He was less than 2 years old, and he had wandered about 1.5 miles from the house. He was out in the forest. They had 2,000 people searching for him. They had helicopters and police and everybody. And I came home. I was at a theater rehearsal. I was rehearsing a play at the Cape Cod Community College. And by the time I came home, all these people were around the house. And they said, well, Nathan is lost. And immediately I'm going to find him. I'll be the one to find him. To make a long story even longer, no. I had a vision of where he was in my third eye. So I prayed to see where he was, and the Spirit showed me exactly this place in the roots of a tree with his puppy dog. I didn't even know his dog went. When they told me later, he went chasing the dog, and that's how they ended up so far away. And so I saw that picture in my mind. I didn't take a spotlight or anything else. I went out there with a candle. The wind blew it out immediately. And then, after a while, I got still in my mind. I got calm. And that picture of him would get brighter and clearer. And I felt him in my heart. So, for the first time in my life, my heart and my mind were in the same place. And they say that's the longest journey you'll ever take. Right? From your heart to your mind. And so, all of a sudden, they were communicating. I was like, wow, I can feel him. And I can see him. Like, I couldn't consciously chart a path. So I just started walking for how I felt. I walked. I was walking down this golf course, and then all of a sudden, Spirit said, stop, go in here. I walked not very far, and it said, stop, look down. There he was. And it was exactly the picture I had in my head. He was curled up in the roots of the tree with his puppy dog. Yeah. But I'm like, this is fantastic. Wow. Everybody ought to be looking like this. Everybody should be seeing this way. Like, this is an amazing gift. But it's, who am I? Like as I said in the beginning, who am I? I'm not special. It's just I wanted it. I really wanted to see differently. I wanted to feel differently. And so Spirit gave me the miracle of feeling and seeing differently. And I found him. Why did those 2,000 other people weren't able to find him? I was meant to find him. And they weren't. It wasn't a helicopter. It wasn't a searchlight. It wasn't a search team. It wasn't the police. It wasn't the fire department. It wasn't the National Guard. It was somebody who could feel his heart. In their heart. And I'm going to tell you today that I'm here in this place at this time because I could feel your heart. More than that, Lily could feel your heart. When we were in Wisconsin, I was part of a Course in Miracles community in Wisconsin. That's a whole other series of miracles that I won't tell you about today. But when I was there, Spirit led me to go. I used to teach in Colombia, the Course in Miracles, and it led me to go in the middle of the summer. It was August, and I never went to Colombia except in the winter, get away from the Wisconsin winter. However, this time, middle of August, Spirit's like, you're going to this conference. So I said, okay, I'm going. Lily had a very similar experience where she had already decided she wasn't going. I'll let her tell that story someday. But through a series of mystical experiences, she was led to that same conference where we met. And the minute we met, it was this strange feeling like we'd known each other all our lives, and then some. And we've been having some past life experiences together. So, Spirit is leading you, is guiding you, is showing you. And it's very clear if you just allow the world to be still. Allow the world in your mind to be still. We knew that we knew each other. We knew it was so familiar. We were sitting next to each other and we're both like, this is so familiar. We don't know what this is, but it's a gift from Spirit. So when we were in Wisconsin and the place was dissolving, and we were wondering, where in the world should we go? We can go anywhere we want, do anything. I had already grew up on Cape Cod, so I wasn't thinking we're going to come back here. So in one of our meditations, one of our very last meditations in Wisconsin, Lily comes back home, and she looks at me, and she says, we're going to Cape Cod. And I had never been more surprised in my life. And I've experienced a lot of miracles already. Why would I be so surprised? And Lily had other visions that she had before she met me of the place we lived in Wisconsin. That was very clear in her mind. So I trust those visions. She had a clear vision of the rocky shoreline and the water and the beach. She described it to me and I said, yep, that's Cape Cod. Exactly. And so, of course, they loaded up the van and they moved to Falmouth. So we drove from Wisconsin to Falmouth. The first place we stopped is, Chappaquiddick Beach in West Falmouth. It's one of my spiritual places. And she says, this is the beach I saw in my mind. Because I always stop there first before I go anywhere. So you know it's real. You know it's true. And you know that there's something within you that you can follow that is going to bring you the happiness and joy that you know is yours. Everything that comes from love is a miracle. I assure you, this is Jesus, right? He says, I assure you and I solemnly say to you, like with all the conviction in my heart, that anyone who believes in me will do the things that I do, and greater things than these will you do. So it's time to stop worshiping Jesus and start doing the things that he did. And start looking for the greater things in our lives. It's time to stop worshiping idols. Anyone. It doesn't matter who they are. But I always ask myself, what are the greater things? And then, what is mine to do? I want to do them. It's going to bring you so much happiness to do the greater things. To be the God self that you are. Stop pretending to be a sick and separate human being. Be the spiritual being that you are. Now there's a lot of other things that happened in those 50 years, and I would really hope to have time to share more of them with you someday. But today, I'm going to leave you with this, that surrendering to the miracle is what I've done all my life. And I offer you the same. Surrender to the miracle that is your life. It's your life. Thank you, Harold. You had no idea how perfect that song was.
Yes, I did.
Sir, yeah. He said, yes, I do. The miracle that is your life. Surrender to that. Surrender to the miracle that is you. I love you guys. Thank you.
You have been watching the message from our Sunday celebration service here at Unity on Cape Cod, providing a positive path for spiritual living. Please join us every Sunday morning at 10 a.m. at 147 Walton Ave, Hyannis, Mass. And visit us online at unityoncapecod.org. This video was made possible in part through a grant from Unity Worldwide Ministries and the Templeton Foundation.